what is the current state of affairs? We need to follow the 7 principles which relate significantly to the development of sustainable practice in sport. These are 1. Benchmarking, 2. The instruments of sustainability, 3. The effect of the Olympics, 4. Sustainable partnerships, 5. Sustainable sporting organizations, 6. Deeper issues related to sustainability in sport, and 7. A key example of good practice. So if we take the first one, benchmarking, from the outset I believe that benchmarking is the key to the success of future sustainability and sport projects. The issues of benchmarking run throughout sustainability literature as individuals who are driving the sustainability agenda at the Olympics and Paralympic coalface deal on a daily basis with the problematics of the provision of sustainable answers to the many daily problems which beset their working lives. Both UNEP and bioregionals seem to understand the notion of setting up the benchmarking processes for bidding and environmental aspects of the Olympic and Paralympics, for example, in the areas such as air pollution, construction, greenhouse emissions, and sustainable legacies, which are constantly monitored and evaluated throughout the process of the Games development period and beyond. Now, this appears to be working in London 2012 case, as working with organisations who want to make the world better, a better place, can only enhance the quality of a sporting event. Deborah Carlson and Paul Ling from the Suzuki Foundation have similar thoughts regarding sustainability benchmarking for major sporting events. Indeed, they are adamant that it is important for NGOs to work collectively with government, business and individuals in reducing the impact of carbon emission in and around major sporting events. In this manner, they set the benchmark of the gold standard carbon offsets by developing the quality report, Meeting the Challenge, a carbon neutral 2010 Winter Games discussion paper. In this and subsequent documents, they developed the concept of play cool, or play it cool, which was linked specifically to elite athletes, and eventually more than 70 athletes were participating. I feel that's increasingly important for athletes to become involved in sustainable practices and to promote the ideas which can benefit the benchmarking processes which was begun in Vancouver 2010 and London 2012. So what are these instruments of sustainability in the sporting context? There's no doubt that there have recently been projects put into place by the Vancouver 2010 and London Olympic and Paralympic Games 2012 organising committees to rationalise and develop exciting projects which are grounded in the sustainability methods of the past, historically grounded. It's important to describe the frameworks that support the event industry in developing an understanding of how to identify and manage negative impacts, and also how to provide a broad report on sustainability standards. Here I highlight the influence that ISO 2012-1 and the consequent BS 8901 projects have had on the sports industry. These two packages have been developed in order to support the event management industry and are based on industry guidelines. They are two important tools to support the future sports sustainability projects. Perhaps the downside to increased emphasis on sustainability in the sports sector is a clutter of information, tools and guidance of varying quality and consistency. This is an interesting point, as it's highly possible that the quest for sustainable events might drive up the cost of each sporting project and could make them financially unsustainable. In other words, the notion of sustainability is directly related to and grounded in rich nation states, countries that have money. It is also suggested that we should use ISO 14001 to 14006 on environmental management systems, ISO 26000 on social responsibility issues, BSI 8900 to 8901 on sustainable event management, and CSA Z2010 on sustainable events, and GRI G3 on sustainable reporting guidelines. Now, what are the effects of the Olympics on sustainable sports events? Undoubtedly, there's been some history to the development of sustainable practices and the Olympic Games. The early work of the IOC Environment Commission, for example, appeared to lay the foundation for what we currently understand as the third pillar of the Olympics. More recently, as Stubbs comments, the IOC has a sustainability agenda with a renewed and coherent focus in its relation with society. And that taken in isolation, the Games do not appear to be a sustainable activity due to international travel, energy use, consumption, and waste products. However, I agree that if the sustainable agenda is channeled effectively, it can be a driver for positive change and for the good of the local communities surrounding the Olympic site. Indeed, today the emphasis has shifted, and sustainability in its full sense is integral to effective Games organization. However, we do not have a common language that demystifies the complexities of the subject and is able to engage a broader audience. That being said, the issues of sustainability remains to the forefront of people's minds, for as McCreary noted, organizers can make a practical contribution to legacy, and he cites the definition utilized by Vannock. So for Vannock then, sustainability means managing the social, economic and environmental impacts and opportunities of our Games to produce lasting benefits locally. The London 2012 Olympic Games, on the other hand, at the moment appears to be knee-deep in sustainability, regeneration and legacy problems. And like Vancouver, sustainability in London 2012 is clearly linked to the notion of legacy. London's catch cry is to provide the most sustainable Games ever. This argument has also been utilised, as McCarthy argues, to link the sustainable 2012 Games as a catalyst for the redevelopment of East London. Now, the term redevelopment immediately conjures up the prospects of increased carbon emissions, environmental and social damage. The Mayor created an independent commission to oversee the sustainable projects associated with the London Games, and although this concept was established in the bid, very little detail was provided. They have, however, established a commission which has turned around the sustainability perspectives of the London 2012 Games. And indeed, they appear to be on track to deliver the most sustainable Games ever. Indeed, London 2012 has adopted the most comprehensive set of social, economic and environmental objectives and targets of any Olympic and Paralympic Games host city ever. So, what are some of these sustainable partnerships? Linking with the sustainable practices and the notion of legacy of the major organizations appears vital, and there are several global businesses who are leaders in sustainable practice. These include multinational companies such as Coca-Cola, Puma, Adidas, Asics, Nike, and in Technogym that supply the fitness equipment for the village. Indeed, it could be argued that many of these companies are leading sustainability practices across sport-related business and driving many of the innovations and ideas which are currently being employed by major sports organizers. Galliard and Simons, for example, cite the case of Coca-Cola, who share the same values of optimism, are committed to supporting youth participation, as many of the major event organizers which they support. So for Coca-Cola, it's important to get the basics of sustainability right, and measuring and monitoring their carbon footprint associated with the London 2012 activities. So if we look at the issue of sustainable sporting organizations, there appears to be a requirement for all major sporting organizations, for example, the BOA, the British Olympic Association, the BRF, the British Rowing Federation, and other international sports organizations such as NOCs, National Olympic Committees, NGBs, National Governing Bodies, the International Paralympic Committee, and National Paralympic Committees to have firm, sustainable policies in place. Unfortunately, not all of the organizations see the importance of such a policy or have plans of sustainability implementation in place. My thoughts then revolve around the development of sustainability and sports policy within the sports sector itself. In order for us to move forward effectively, there is a further requirement of all sporting bodies, from children involved in the school sport, individuals in club sport and elite sport at the international levels, to have sustainability practices in place with their constitutions. There are deeper issues related to sport and sustainability, however. The importance of organisations responsible for delivering sporting venues, presenting a cohesive and considering vision for sustainability, and the setting of a clear vision and achievable targets and accountability and reporting measures which review all of the issues and problems associated with the running of the event, are of the greatest importance. So with the previous comments in mind, there appears to be some difficulty in achieving targets which are or have been set by sustainability experts. Questions need to be asked as to whether we actually have a handle on the sustainability practices of differing major sporting events, and if we are just paying lip service to the organising committee so that they can appear legitimate within the concept of political correctness and government policy. Thus, from the planning to construction phases of the event, there needs perhaps to be more public and community participation. So let's go back to my book, Sustainability in Sport. In this book, we have negotiated, with the support of our friends and colleagues, a multiplicity of subject matter and arguments, questions and anxieties connected with the research and practice surrounding the broad and burgeoning area of sustainability in sport. Indeed, we remain adamant that this text is only the beginning of the highly relevant literature subject matter in the sphere of sustainability. And after this exercise, we feel that one role for the practitioner and academic alike remains to produce documents and test ideas that challenge the individuals to read the chapters, to continue to move from the disconnected context of sport and sustainability to connectedness for the professionals working in the area. In other words, we believe that the practitioners and academics should be utilizing the methods and ideas postulated in this book to support their own work practices and professional development. It is perhaps fitting then that I complete this presentation with the words of Julian de Heer and Dennis Bocce, where they note that sports events in general and high-level mega sports events in particular need excellent environmental conditions for athletes to compete without being hazardous to human health, and that major events must show the way in their interest and cannot be inconsistent in their environmental action plan. Thank you for listening, and I hope the following presentations today are fruitful and enhance your understanding of sustainability in sport.